A quiet life of a single mother is about to come face to face with one of wealth and ruthlessness at a wedding of her family. Anna Mitchell, a diligent waitress, has a dreaded day ahead without realizing it is going to ignite a fight against those who are determined to destroy her. In a luxurious Boston hotel, unpleasant realities and cruel schemes are about to disturb her strength. But a small voice will emerge, making shame a battle for justice. A tale of courage, betrayal, and a mother's unshatterable love for her son. In a small apartment in the Boston suburbs in 2025, Anna Mitchell stood at the kitchen window, coffee cup in hand. Morning sunlight kissed her chestnut hair, her tired eyes retaining a quiet strength. At 34, life's battles had lined her face, but her smile was still bright with youth. From the living room, her 8-year-old son, Caleb, called out, "Mom, my tie's a mess." His red tie dangled loose, his fingers fumbling with knots. Anna knelt beside him, her voice gentle. "Don't worry, Caleb, I'll fix it." Her hands moved swiftly, but her chest tightened at the day ahead, her ex-sister-in-law's wedding, a place she felt unwelcome. For 12 years, Anna had worked at the Maple Diner, enduring long hours and rude customers. Her advice was scarce, but she never complained, working to raise Caleb on her own. 3 years ago, her world fell apart as her husband, Stephen, confessed to an affair with his young aide. Stephen, a high-flying sales executive at a high-tech firm, looked down on Anna's waitress work as being beneath his new station. "I need a divorce," he'd said, his tone icy. Anna didn't weep, she nodded, signed the documents, and relocated with 5-year-old Caleb to a tiny apartment. Her pride held her together, and Caleb was her beacon. "Today's a big day, Caleb," she said, adjusting his suit jacket. "It's your Aunt Emily's wedding, so let's be nice." Caleb, intelligent and perceptive, scrunched up his face. "Grandma Patricia and Aunt Emily don't like you, do they, Mom?" Anna looked into his eyes, heart-hurting but truthful. "Adult relationships are complicated, Caleb. They are living in a different world, but family bonds are strong." Her words concealed the hurt of Emily's harsh insults, ridiculing Anna's lowly profession. Emily was a 29-year-old Harvard alumni who was marrying a professor, Thomas, and her extravagant wedding would be a celebration of her triumph. Patricia, Stephen's mother, was tougher, her snobbery biting. She'd never approved of Anna, a mere waitress, and after the divorce, she became openly contemptuous. Patricia hardly acknowledged Caleb, pushing him around like an imperfection in her family's heritage. As Anna tightened Caleb's tie, she remembered the wedding invitation, gold-embossed, costly paper, sent out of obligation. She'd wished to refuse, but Caleb's silent request, "I want to see Dad," altered her course. She had no idea that this day would change their lives forever. "Ready, Caleb?" Anna asked, taking a deep breath. Her simple gray dress was understated, chosen to avoid attention, but it framed her natural grace. She rested her hands on Caleb's shoulders, her voice firm. "No matter what happens, we're a team." Caleb nodded, his trust in her absolute. They took a taxi to the Grand Harbor View Hotel, its marble entrance gleaming under Boston's morning sun. Anna and Caleb paused, the lobby's chandeliers and polished floors feeling like a foreign land. At the reception counter, an employee scanned the guest list, her expression confused. "Ms. Mitchell?" she asked, looking at Anna and Caleb. "1 minute, please." She leaned over to another colleague and whispered, Anna's stomach tightening, her hold on Caleb's hand tightening too. The lobby was full of guests dressed in designer finery, their champagne glasses clinking. Anna was a stranger here, misplaced in their high-gloss world. The staff member came back, her smile forced. "This way to your seats." They walked into a large hall, its walls of floor-to-ceiling windows opening to the sparkling waters of Boston Bay. Caleb came to a halt, his finger indicating their table's place cards. "Mom, look at this." The other tables had Mitchell family or Collins family on them, but Anna's read, "Single mother waitress." Caleb's read, "Single mother's son." Anna's face burned with embarrassment, her heart pounding with humiliation. She wished to run, to protect Caleb from the meanness, but his wounded eyes held her in check. "It's all right, Caleb," she told him, turning over the cards, her voice calm in contrast to her shaking hands. "Just a cruel joke." She sat, smiling bravely, but the hurt seared like a brand. The hallway was filled with partygoers, women in glittering gowns, men in crisp suits. Patricia entered, her pearl-studded silver gown glinting, her arrival commanding. "Anna, you arrived," she said, her voice filled with faint disdain. She hardly looked at Caleb before stepping aside to meet others. Anna's chest constricted, but she grasped Caleb's hand, holding on. The pipe organ began playing, and the guests rose as Thomas, the groom, came down the aisle in a dashing tuxedo. Stephen came next, his slick appearance a testament to his success. Anna's breathing hitched, catching sight of her ex-husband for the first time in 3 years. The music changed, and Emily walked in, beaming in a flowing white dress, her smile victorious. The audience gasped at her beauty, the ceremony proceeding with vows, rings, and a kiss to perfection. Anna reserved her smile for Caleb, concealing her churning emotions. Champagne flowed at the reception, and appetizers made the rounds. Caleb drank juice, his eyes opened wide with wonder. "Mom, Dad's looking at us," he whispered, gesturing. Stephen caught their eye but remained aloof, his face guarded. Anna's heart fell, but she clenched Caleb's hand, holding on. Glasses rattled, and Patricia rose, microphone held high. "Thank you all for toasting my daughter Emily's wedding," she said, her voice smooth and authoritative. She spoke warmly of the couple's good future, her words polished. Then her gaze turned to Anna, with a nasty glint. "We have a special guest, Anna, our former family member." Everyone's eyes fell on Anna, her face hot under the lights. "She is a waitress," Patricia replied, voice icily sharp. "So I have an idea." Her smile was cruel. "Anna, since you're a pro, why don't you serve dinner this evening?" The room fell into stunned silence, air thick with shock. Anna stood transfixed, humiliation flooding her. Patricia's tone was dripping with venom. "You're accustomed to serving, aren't you? Not scraps only." Her cackle rang out, and guests started giggling, Emily openly smirking. Even Stephen, albeit uncomfortably, smiled faintly. Anna's hands trembled, tears burning her eyes, her throat constricting. She yearned to vanish, to flee this brutal stage. As she rose to get out, Caleb pushed his chair back, standing tall. Laughter ceased as the 8-year-old came forward, his face serene but raging. "Anna," she whispered, outstretched arm after him, but he approached the stage, making for the microphone. The hall was quiet, every eye on the boy, his presence intense beyond his age. Anna Mitchell sat motionless at the wedding reception, her heart pounding as her son, Caleb, took the microphone. The Grand Harbor View Hotel hall was quiet, all the guests fixed on the 8-year-old boy. His small voice broke through the tension, consistent and clear. "I have a gift for the bride," Caleb announced, his voice steady but authoritative. Emily's face paled, her smile extinguished like a blown candle. She stiffened, eyes wide with terror, as if trapped in a dream. Thomas, the groom, gazed at his bride, his forehead furrowed in puzzlement. Anna's former husband, Stephen, sprang up, his tone cutting. "Caleb, cease at once." But the audience leaned forward, panting, eager to hear Caleb's next sentence. Caleb drew a breath, his slight body firm under the weight of silence. He moved the microphone, his hand confident, and turned to the sea of grown-ups. "Please quit bullying my mother," he declared, his voice echoing loud. Eyes hundreds strong fixed on him, the air charged with shock. Patricia's face went white, her pearl necklace catching the light as she clutched her chair. Emily stood immobile, her hands shaking, her wedding gown too bright. Thomas's confusion intensified, his eyes darting back and forth between Caleb and Emily. "Caleb, return," Stephen shouted, his deep voice full of urgency. Caleb did not turn back, his eyes flashing with resolve. "You don't know my mom," he declared, his voice ringing through the hallway. "She gets up at 5 a.m. to prepare my lunch. She reviews my homework every morning. She works all day at the diner and reads me stories at night." Anna sat agog, tears dripping down her face, her heart overflowing. She hadn't realized Caleb saw her struggles so plainly. "My mom smiles no matter how exhausted she is," Caleb stated, his tone resolute. "Nobody hurts her." Whispers spread among the guests, people edging in their chairs. Patricia moved towards Caleb, her tone sugary but tense. "Dear boy, this is a special occasion. Let's get you some dessert and keep the grown-up conversation, okay?" Caleb's head shook, his face unyielding. "I overheard Aunt Emily and Dad," he stated, his voice a clap of thunder. The room stood still, the heavy silence thick with foreboding. Emily clasped Thomas's arm, her tone shrill. "Thomas, it's only a child's tale. Get him away." But Thomas stalled, his gaze narrowing at Emily's frantic behavior. He carefully extricated his arm and settled back, his eyes fixed intently on Caleb. "I visited Aunt Emily's apartment 3 days ago to leave our RSVP," Caleb replied, his voice calm. "Dad's car was in front. I was headed for piano lessons, but Mom had forgotten to mail a letter, so I stopped by." Stephen and Emily's faces went white as a ghost, their eyes filled with terror. "The door was open and they were talking," Caleb replied. "I was going to greet him, but I heard my name, so I listened." Patricia attempted to cut in, her tone shrill. "This is a celebration. A child's ridiculous story does not belong here." "I have evidence," Caleb stated, his words cutting her off. He produced a smartphone from his pocket, its screen light radiating through the dimness. Anna's heart stuttered. She recalled Stephen handing Caleb the phone on his birthday. "I taped it," Caleb asserted, his tone unshakable. Gasps came from the audience, guests leaning forward in horror. Stephen charged at the stage, but hotel security stopped him, their faces grim. Emily stood frozen, her face as white as her dress. Caleb pressed the phone and held it to the microphone, the hall silent as the grave. Rustling noises were heard, then Emily's voice, cold and snarling. "Steve, I'll love watching Anna's pitiful face at the wedding. I'll label her seat single mother waitress and humiliate her in front of everyone. Patricia's in on it. It'll be the perfect wedding." Then Stephen's voice, low and cautious. "Careful, Emily. If people find out you're pregnant with my kid, our affair's exposed." The hall erupted in shocked murmurs, guests turning to one another. Anna's hand covered her mouth, her heart pounding. "Stephen and Emily? A pregnancy?" The recording continued, Emily's laughter cutting through. "Thomas is clueless. I'll tell him after the wedding, it'll be too late. I planned it so he'll think the baby's his." Stephen's voice followed, smug. "Dumping Anna was the best move. We're meant for each other, Emily." Caleb stopped the recording, slipping the phone back into his pocket. The hall was silent, the truth hanging heavy like storm clouds. Thomas stood frozen, his face ashen, his eyes locked on Emily. His parents slumped in stunned silence, their faces a combination of anger and betrayal. Emily's tears ran down her face, smearing her makeup. Stephen's face was red with heat, his eyes cast downward. Patricia collapsed into a chair, shaking, her facade destroyed. "Mom works hard every day for me," Caleb said, his voice shaking but firm. "Aunt Emily, stop hurting her with Dad." He turned to Thomas, his eyes honest. "I'm sorry, but you needed the truth." The room was chilly, the weight of his words suffocating the celebratory atmosphere. Thomas slowly got up, his eyes boring into Emily, his voice trembling. "Is this true?" Emily covered her face, crying hysterically. "No, Caleb's lying. It's a child's fanciful tale." But her collapse gave her away, her tears wailing guilt. Patricia moved forward, her tone despairing. "This is a mistake. A child's fantasy imagination. Don't spoil this lovely day." Thomas's father got up, his tone firm. "Has our family been misled?" He faced Thomas. "Son, we have to rethink this wedding." Thomas's family stood up, their faces stern. Thomas looked at Emily once more, his voice low. "Emily, tell me the truth." She was unable to reply, her sobs choking her. Stephen stood, his voice weighty. "Enough. It's true." He bent his head, the room standing in appalled silence. "I've been with Emily, and she's pregnant with my child." Chaos broke out, guests gasping and screaming. Thomas stumbled back, his mother rushing to support him. His father rushed at Stephen, but others restrained him, arguing in loud voices. Patricia scolded Emily and Stephen, her high-pitched voice harsh. "You've embarrassed us." Caleb left the stage, his small body firm as he strode to Anna. He put his hand on hers, speaking softly. "I apologize, Mom, but I couldn't let them hurt you." Anna hugged him close, streaming tears down her face. Her world contracted to her courageous son, the melee to a faraway hum. Emily wept, accusing Stephen, while Patricia shouted, Anna grasped Caleb's hand, her tone even. Let's go home. They walked, their pride intact, towards the exit. Someone called out, "Wait, please." Anna turned to view Thomas walking towards her, his face drawn, his eyes red-rimmed with pain. Thomas's voice trembled as he faced Anna Mitchell and her son, Caleb, in the Grand Harbor View Hotel's lobby. His polished tuxedo hung heavy, his face pale under the glittering chandeliers. "Anna, Caleb, I'm so sorry," he said, his eyes red with pain. "I didn't know what they were doing to you." Anna's heart ached for him, their shared betrayal binding them in that moment. "It's not your fault, Thomas," she whispered, her voice firm. Caleb gazed up at him, his little face serious. "I just wanted you to know the truth." Thomas hunkered down to Caleb's height, his words heavy with emotion. "You're braver than anyone in that room." He straightened, looking at the bedlam in the hallway, Emily crying, Stephen shouting at Patricia, guests murmuring with shock. "I have to handle this," Thomas said, his jaw clenched. "But thank you, Caleb, for saving me from a lie." Anna nodded, her hand on Caleb's shoulder. "We're leaving, Thomas. Take care." Holmes gave a small nod, his eyes heavy, as he turned back to the unraveling wedding. Anna and Caleb stepped out, the cool Boston night air washing over them. The city's lights sparkled, a quiet contrast to the storm they'd left behind. In the taxi, Caleb leaned against Anna, his voice small. "Did I do the right thing, Mom?" Anna wrapped her arms around him, speaking softly. "You were amazing, Caleb. You stood up for what is right." At home, Anna pulled Caleb into bed, his eyes weary but triumphant. "I love you, Mom," he whispered, falling asleep. Anna's heart expanded, her love for him burning as intensely as ever. She sat at the window, moonlight casting gentle shadows, her thoughts reliving the day. The bite of the place cards, Patricia's cruel words, Caleb's unyielding bravery. Thomas's hoarse voice echoed in her head, his pain a reflection of hers. "Anna, wait," a voice shouted as they'd moved out of the lobby that morning. Thomas had overtaken, his gait uneven. "Your son's bravery, it's incredible," he whispered, his words husky. "I was deaf to Emily's lies." He set a hand upon Caleb's shoulder. "Thanks for being honest." Anna had smiled warmly, her voice soft. "Time will heal, Thomas. We both deserve new beginnings." In the hall, the commotion had become noisier. Emily's cries filled the air, her wedding gown rumpled, her makeup smeared with tears. She seized Thomas's arm, begging frantically. "It's a lie, Thomas. A kid's fantasy. Believe me." Thomas pushed her hand away, his voice as cold as ice. "Stephen confessed it. He's the father, isn't he?" Emily's voice broke, hysterical. "No, he's confused. It's our wedding, Thomas, years we've been in love." Thomas shook his head, his eyes cold. "I loved you, but you cheated on me with your own brother." He fought to get air, his voice cracking. "I need time to think." Stephen arrived, his suit disheveled, his face twisted with conflict. "Emily, don't lie," he said, his voice weighed down. "This is my fault, Thomas." "I'm sorry." Patricia burst toward them, her silver dress flashing with anger. "Both of you have tarnished our family's reputation," she snarled at Emily and Stephen. "How dare you do this?" She looked at Anna and Caleb, venom in her eyes. "And you too, sharing our shame in public." Anna stiffened, her voice cold and resolute, years of shame driving her words. "You ought to feel ashamed. Your child and daughter were going to defraud an innocent man with a child from your affair. We only uncovered the truth." Patricia's face went rigid, her words stilled. Emily fell to her knees, weeping. "Thomas, don't go." Thomas's father stepped up, his tone firm, grasping Thomas's shoulder. "Come on, son. This family's not worth our time." He looked at Anna and Caleb, his head inclining slightly. "Thank you for the truth." Thomas turned to Emily one final time, his voice firm. "Is the baby Stephen's?" Emily's stilled silence, broken by tears, was her reply. Thomas removed his ring, placing it in front of her. "Goodbye, Emily." He turned away, his family behind him, leaving Emily on the ground, crumpled. Stephen sat with her, his arm across her, his face weighed down with regret. He glanced at Anna, his face etched with remorse, but remained silent. Patricia was holding her head, repeating, What do I do now? Her pride was gone, and she was left weak and lost. Anna grasped Caleb's hand, her voice low. Let's go home, Caleb. We don't belong here. They stepped into the waiting taxi, Anna giving their suburban address. Is it okay if it's a bit far? She asked the driver. He glanced at them in the rearview mirror, smiling warmly. No problem, ma'am. Have a good night. As the car moved through Boston's dark streets, Anna hugged Caleb close. You're my hero, she whispered, kissing his forehead. Caleb nestled against her, his voice soft. Did I do something wrong, Mom? Anna smoothed his hair, speaking firmly. No, you told the truth with courage. That's never wrong. Her heart whirled with tangled feelings, horror at Stephen and Emily's affair, their child, Stephen's chill after the divorce. She was anxious about the future. Would Stephen's family seek revenge? How would Caleb's relationship with his father be affected? But tonight, she set those fears aside, thinking about Caleb's courage. I'm hungry, Caleb whispered, interrupting her thoughts. Anna smiled, her heart lifting. We didn't have dinner, did we? Let's stop for burgers on the way home. 3 months passed, on a fresh autumn afternoon, when Anna tightened her new uniform at the Maple Diner. A deputy manager badge glimmered on her chest, the sign of her hard-won ascension. Congrats, Anna, her colleagues chanted, offering her flowers. You deserve it. The owner of the diner, impressed by her dedication, had promoted her, and her confidence had returned. The wedding's fallout had spread through Boston, and support poured in for Anna and Caleb. People praised Caleb's courage, calling him a hero. Emily had fled the city, now a single mother herself, facing the same struggles she once mocked Anna for. Stephen lost his job and reputation, his calls to Anna begging for another chance met with her firm refusal. We're done, she'd said. I'm building a new life. Patricia, shunned by her family's shame, wrote Anna an apology letter. Anna, after considerable reflection, responded curtly, I can get over this, but trust is lost. Home, Caleb burst through the door from school, flapping a test sheet. A+, Mom. Anna embraced him, pride bursting in her heart. Caleb, now upstanding among his friends as defender of truth, had become stronger. Anna had taken night courses at a community college, earning a scholarship to continue a nutrition degree she had dropped years earlier. Caleb roomed with their neighbor, Lisa Chen, a law student, while she attended classes. Mom, can you own a restaurant someday? Caleb inquired, wide-eyed. Anna smiled, her confidence bolstered. I'm on my way, Caleb. She no longer felt shame as a single mother, but embracing instead her strength. Her bond with Caleb had deepened, unbreakable after that day. Sometimes, Anna thought back to the wedding. If Caleb hadn't stood up, she might still doubt her worth. That day of humiliation had opened a new path for them both. Ready? She asked Caleb, as they planned to watch his favorite movie after her class. He nodded, grinning. We're the strongest team, Mom. Anna mussed his hair, their tale not a conclusion but a fearless new beginning. Thanks for reading along on Revenza Tales for this epic adventure of justice and bravery. Subscribe, like, share with your squad, and comment your ideas to keep the revenge tales flowing. Speak up, no matter how small you are, bravery can bring down even the meanest falsehoods.